Okay. It's 5 p.m., February 17th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call. Tom Barney.
Here.
Eric Brown.
Here.
And Michael Loth. I am here. Agenda revisions and approval.
Motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 4, approve minutes. Approval of the January 27th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 6, consent review and discuss February vouchers. I know there's a couple of questions. Brittany Altendorf, please.
I received, I believe, 5 questions that I'll be going over. The first one is regarding invoice for $1,540 for GED exams. With this, we purchased 10 $10 exams, which is single exams. I know your question, so I'll get to that part. And then the other portion is that we purchased 40 $36 exams, which are multiple subject exams. The question was regarding the word veteran that's in there. That's on the invoice. So when the high school entered the PO, they put that in there. So we aren't paying for any veterans GEDs. We did look it up, similar to you looking it up, and it did say that we are responsible for it, but we haven't, and we currently aren't paying for any.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have an issue with it. I just didn't know that we were obligated to pay for veterans GED exams. Who knew?
Right.
So, yeah, it's, okay, so it wasn't for a veteran specifically, it's just a number of exams.
Correct. We purchase this number of exams each year around this time, so I don't know if they're used for like the end of this year and also the beginning of next year, if you can split it, but they do carry over year. So if you don't use them, they will carry over to the next year.
It wasn't clear that there were that quantity. It looked like it was possibly one exam cost us $1,000 or $1,100. So I'm glad that there's more quantity than just one to that $1,100 charge.
Yeah, I think that the purchase order could have been entered a little more with more specifics on it. The invoice did lay it out like that.
Sure. Okay, we got it cleared up anyway. Sounds good.
Sure. The next question was regarding EMC. The check or the invoice was there was 2 of them. One was for $480 and the other one was for $2,755. EMC stands for Environmental Management Consulting. The $480 was for a semi-annual fee to monitor our safety data sheets. Those are, you might be able to help me out, Frank, but those are like the tracking to make sure that we do have all our chemical hazards, facility safety management. There's a data sheet that we get access to as a school district, and all employees have access to it, that they can type in a chemical and it will explain like if someone would get it in their eyes or touch it with their hands, what they need to do with it. So I think it's the data sheets in regards to the chemicals that we have within our district.
Yeah, I take this training once a year, but it was hard to see that that's what it was for. You know, chemical, safety sheets.
Yeah, it says SDS database monitoring, so they monitor to make sure that the information that we have in there is accurate. So that was the $480 portion. And then there was also a $2,755 portion. That is $1,650 of that was a semi-annual asbestos maintenance fee. And then the other balance of that amount was a semi-annual ESHA programs maintenance fee, and ESHA stands for Environmental Safety and Health Compliance. So all of it's related. So they basically track to make sure that everything that we have put in place follows the standards.
Okay, okay, very good, thank you.
The next question I received was regarding district wireless, it says wireless phones. The total was for $5,577.67. This is for the walkie-talkies, the cell phones, the communication we have within the district. The answer is how many district cell phones / devices are included in this charge. It's twofold. There are 88 devices, but the monthly fee is usually around $2,400. There was about $3,000 added to this one invoice because we needed to buy cell boosters. So the signal for those devices can go within our buildings. Our buildings are concrete, so we need to purchase boosters so they can get to all the different places in our buildings. Otherwise, they weren't working in all the different spaces. So that part was a one-time fee, but normally the the monthly fee is about $2,400, which you would have seen on previous vouchers.
All right, then I've got a follow-on question to that.
Sure.
Are those boosters only for the devices that we have, or if it's an AT&T booster and someone happens to have AT&T service, they'll get increased service in that part of the building?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the next question I received was, invoice for $15,000 for CVS Caremark. It's an annual maintenance fee. This did not come to the Finance Committee because it is part of our overall self-funded health insurance plan. So it did not come as a separate item because it's built into the overall expense that we have built in our budget for self-funded health insurance.
It's kind of what I assumed. I just thought it was an even 15,000, which would normally come to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, and then the last question, again, we ordered books from Follett. There was 4 different book orders in which we sent the titles to the Finance Committee for review. So if you do have any follow-up questions, please reach out to myself or Jake Miziak for those questions.
Okay, I have not looked over the book titles yet, but we'll have to take a peek at that. I imagine Teaching and Learning is interested in that also.
They might be.
Okay, very good.
That's all.
Thank you, Brittany. I will take a motion.
Motion to approve the consent to payment vouchers as presented and reviewed.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Okay, item 5, reports and updates. Item A, January variance report. Brittany Altendorf, please.
There you go. Is the January variance report comparing January 2025 to January of 2024. Again, on the top of the report is expenses for the general fund and the special education fund, and then on the bottom is those two funds, but their revenues. As of today, we've spent about $1 million more in the general budget, and then a little less than that in the special ed budget. So overall, we've spent a total of $960,000 more this time compared to last year. Most of those expenses are coming from the capital projects fund. So we are following the budget that Frank Lord has put in place for our capital projects. Our spending is around the 40% range, which is compared to last year. The area that I did want to focus on is our revenues. You can see that we have increased our revenues by $4 million compared to this time last year. The main reason for that is property tax payments. Last year, we had a decrease at this time in property tax payments. We receive the money that the municipalities give us based on the number of people that are paying their property taxes. So overall, throughout the whole year, we'll get the entire dollar amount, but they give us the money based on the number of people that are paying their taxes and when they're paying them. So previously, we are back now to this year, compare where we were 2 years ago. So yes, last year it was just a different year, and now we're back to normal. So we hope that it stays like this, where people are paying their property taxes earlier, but it could change. But, so that's why you see the increase of the $4 million in local sources.
Okay, so we didn't up taxes by 4 million over last year, is what you're saying.
No, this is just when payments are coming in.
So if the taxpayer pays their taxes by the end of January, do we see it in this number, or do you have to pay sooner? I always pay before the end of the year, so I'm paying in December.
Yep.
Just in case I can get a deduction for it. But, yeah, if they pay by the end of January, do we see it? Is it part of this 4 million?
This is not part of that, because we received this in mid-January, so this would be more of if you paid similar to when you're paying at the end of December.
Okay, you have to pay a little bit early, because I think you're allowed up to the end of January,
Yeah,
correct?
that would not be in this amount. That would come into our next payment that we're
Okay,
receiving.
okay, yeah, so if you pay by half, and then in the second half of January, we don't see it until August.
Not in this payment,
Yeah, it's like August 15th or something, I believe, right?
right.
Okay, very good.
Other questions regarding the variance report?
I don't have any. It was that $4 million I was gonna ask about, and you already answered it. I just had the little extra question there about it.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Next item is new business, 7A, 2025-2026 facility rental usage fees. And that's Brittany Altendorf.
In February or March, usually in February, I bring to the board the following year's facility use fee schedule for approval. The only change that we're requesting from the Finance Committee today is near the bottom of the fee schedule for cafeteria and cafetoriums with kitchen amenities. Previously, it just said varies. So people would call and ask, what the rate would be. We don't have many times in which our kitchens are rented using our amenities. They also would have to pay for a staff member to be there because we don't allow people to use the kitchen equipment. So our kitchens, we do not ever rent out the high school kitchen, but we would rent out the elementaries and the middle school kitchen. Their equipment is similar across all those sites, so we set a rate which would be $10 more than if you would request to rent an elementary cafeteria without the amenities, so without the kitchen. So we thought that $10 flat rate is sufficient because all the amenities are consistent. It's different if they would request to rent the PAC. There's different parts or equipment they can use in the PAC, so that's why that area would say varies. This is consistent on if they would rent it, they're gonna get the same items. So that is why we put the dollar amount. So if people did decide to do that, they would know it without having to call and get information from us.
So did the dollar amount go up a little bit, or?
There
down?
was no dollar amount before. It said varies in priority group number 2 through 5, and obviously priority group number 1 is free. So instead of it just saying varies with people questioning it, we thought that adding a specific dollar amount
Okay.
would be helpful, and then we chose $10 higher than the one above it, which is just the cafeteria, not with the kitchen and amenities, because they are consistent across the kitchens.
Mm-hmm. Group 5 looks like it might be $10 lower.
Oh, is it $10 lower? Is that my error?
I think it's transposed.
Yeah,
Oh, I apologize. That's my error.
okay, yeah, so we'll just
Put that in the motion, please.
transpose those two. Okay, very good. Any questions, or I'll take a motion? That'll be fun to add.
Yeah, is the rate supposed to be $62 or $72?
I think, is that transposed, Brittany? It should be 52 for Group 5 for just cafetorium and 62 with amenities.
Yes, I would flip those two around in the last column. The 62 and the 52 would be flipped around.
Okay. I'll make a motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the 2025-2026 facility use fee schedule as presented, except for changing elementary cafetoriums in priority group 5 to $52 and cafetoriums with kitchen amenities, priority group 5 to $62.
Yes.
I will second.
Okay. We have a motion from Tom Barney with adjustments and a second from Eric Brown. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. All right, next item is 7B, 2025-2026 student fee schedule. Brittany Altendorf, please.
Again, in front of you today is the 2025-2026 student fee schedule, as I bring every February. The only request would be the technology fee that we have been establishing and then slightly increasing every year. The total would be for $50. This would be our last request to increase, and then it would just stay $50 moving forward. It was $45 the previous year, and then as you can see, it's been increased by $5 increments since it was put in place in 2021-22.
Okay, very good, understood. I will take a motion.
I'd like to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the 2025 and 2026 student fee schedule.
Second.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Tom Barney. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 7C, 2025 mileage and meal reimbursement rates. Brittany Altendorf, please.
Annually, per board policy, we have to bring the mileage rates and reimbursement and meal reimbursement rates to the board. The mileage rates are set in January, so that's why it usually comes around this time of year. The only request that is being asked of the committee today is to increase the mileage rate from 67 cents to 70 cents per mile, which is from the Internal Revenue Service. Everything else regarding meal reimbursement is asked to stay the same and has not been changed for over 10 years.
Okay, very good. I will take a motion. Unless there's, well, yeah, go ahead.
Bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the 2025 mileage and meal reimbursement rates of 70 cents per mile, breakfast $12.50, lunch $12.50, dinner $20.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Tom?
It was either last year or the year before, I think I brought up that I don't think you can go somewhere and get lunch for $12.50 if you're traveling, unless you're going to McDonald's and eating off the dollar menu.
Do you suggest an increase?
I don't know, I would think 15 would be reasonable for lunch,
Okay.
but if your recommendation is to stick with $12.50, I'm fine with that. I'm just thinking, I mean, do we have, when our employees travel, are they struggling to find a place that fits within the $12.50?
I'm thinking most of the time that they're going to a conference which is serving lunch. So I can't say that lunch is usually a concern.
Okay,
I can say dinner sometimes because the conference is over and you're attending dinner. If if you're staying over, I don't know how much dinner you can get for $20, but you can possibly get some dinners for $20. So if you want to increase lunch to $15, I don't have an issue with that. It's not, we don't hear concerns or complaints about it. But I understand where you're coming from.
I don't know, I guess if you're not hearing complaints, we can probably leave it, but if you start to hear something, then we can always revisit it.
Sure, I can also put in a note in for next year, if we want to bring that as a recommendation moving forward, if I hear anything
Yeah,
throughout the
just
year.
something to consider.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it'd
Thank
be,
you.
I think it would be okay for next year. I think these numbers, at my company, I believe it's $12.50, I think it's 15, and then 20. You can go over, it's just recommended numbers, you know, for where I work. You've got to turn the receipts in for everything, so if you're over, it's okay, but if you go way over, you know, you could get a talking to.
if you're over here, you get $12.50.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, let's, if there's no complaints, let's revisit it next year.
Okay,
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. We are on 7D1, 2024-2025 CISA contract amendments. Brittany, oh, I'm sorry, Katie Cole. I had Brittany on the mind. Sorry about that.
Want to take this one? No?
if you're going to stand.
Oh. Hi, so tonight I'm bringing to you two amendments to our CISA 1 contract. I brought the CISA 1 contract to the board and it was approved on August 19th. Just as a reminder, these are services, special ed services that are provided to students for teachers that we don't have on staff. Examples, audiology, our vision services. So our initial contract is always based on projected need, but as the school year goes on, if there are needs that come along that are based on student IEPs, then there can be amendments to increase those services. So the first amendment is for vision services that's attached to your board packet. This is a reconciliation to the initial amount for services that have been provided up through January 31st. And then the second amendment is for an additional second semester seat for Ozaki Community High School. That's an alternative placement. So you'll see that amendment is prorated because it is just for our second semester. It's not for the entire year. And again, that's based on a student need that we had.
Okay, very good. I will take a motion. Oh, yeah, go ahead, do the motion. I'll have a question.
Or do you have questions?
I'd like to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the CISA 1 contract amendments for an increase in vision services provided as of January 31st, 2025 in the amount of $1,952.26, and for an additional second semester seat at Ozaki Community High School in the amount of $7,000 funded out of the IDEA flow-through grant.
Second.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Tom Barney. And everyone knows what my question is going to be. IDEA, that must be an acronym for something that's not defined here.
per IEDA. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, is that what you're?
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds right.
Oh,
I
it's on
just
here.
didn't know.
Yes, yes, that's the grant money that we have for special education.
Okay. I know what it is, but our viewers at home
Sure.
don't know what it is.
Spell it out next time.
No, really, I don't know didn't know what it was. It just sounds good when I say it like that. Okay, that's all I have. Anything else? Nope. Okay. No further questions. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Katie. And the next item is 7D2, Snap-on PMI certification, precision measuring instruments. Thank you for that, Jake. And Jake Miziak, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Earlier this month, I brought to the Teaching and Learning Committee information regarding the PMI certification that we're looking to add in our high school program. Snap-on offers a precision measuring instrument kit, which equips students with the skills to use advanced measuring instruments and enhance their employability and readiness skills for technical fields. Again, one of the benefits of this is we can seek reimbursement from the Department of Public Works through the Career and Technical Education Incentive Grant. Any certification that our students earn while they're in high school is reimbursable up to $1,000 per student. As I said at the Teaching and Learning Committee, we generally don't get the $1,000. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $700. So every student who earns this certification while they're at GHS, so long as they don't earn other certifications, because they can only earn one certification per student, or they can earn multiple certifications. We can only get reimbursed for one of them, but there is a reimbursable piece to this. So every student who earns this, for us, we would get a reimbursement, and then they would benefit from receiving that certification.
Okay, very good. I love the program, precision measurement. There's a lot to it. Okay, I'll take a motion.
Motion to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the purchase of Snap-on precision measuring instrument kits for an amount not to exceed $39,069.22.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. I didn't check before this meeting, but I believe Snap-on is still a great Wisconsin-based company, if my previous facts are correct. So we thank Snap-on for that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay, item 7D3, 2024-2025 roofing projects. Frank Lord. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you. Yes, so this is the 2024-2025 scheduled roofing projects as it appeared on the 5-year capital improvement plan that was presented to the board in January. Each of these sections has had numerous repairs completed within the last calendar year and is they both consistently demonstrate the integral need for replacement. We've spent thousands of dollars just in repairs within the last year to get by to this point, but the high school in itself has been one that we've had several units and HVAC equipment up there that was removed from years past, thus leaving a curb susceptible to dry rotting and other more easily penetrative issues. So this, again, was in the 5-year capital improvement plan and on the 2024-2025 capital projects list. This is not to exceed between both different contractors, and the two selected between Performance Roofing and Langer Roofing we have worked with in the past and have had great success. So we have no worries that way. Attached, you can see the roof replacement bid summary between the 5 contractors that we received bids from. All are very competitive and solid contractors, so it was good to see that. And I believe, excuse me, the roof replacements is attached as well, and that just kind of gives you an overview. The high school in that section, just between the A and B wing connection there. And then Kennedy's just off of the courtyard.
Okay, very good. I take it you have ideas for what next year will be also on this roof replacements, or you
Yes.
still gotta figure that out?
Yes,
You got
I do have it listed as far as he's scheduled with the last install that they've had or what their life is at currently. But that doesn't mean that we might have one jump in front if it becomes a serious issue or we do have some failing of some sort.
Okay, very good. I will take a motion.
Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation to the full board to approve the replacement of GHS roof section E using Performance Roofing in an amount not to exceed $338,958, and KMS roof section F using Langer Roofing and Sheet Metal in an amount not to exceed $81,100, funded out of the Fund 41 Capital Improvements budget.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Next item. Seven D4, and security and fire panel upgrades, Frank Lord.
Yes, thank you. So the district utilizes Securitas technology, which is formerly Stanley Security, for both fire and security and industrial equipment alarm monitoring. Securitas technology services and maintains the panels, keypads, and all the other equipment that is part of that monitoring system. Amy Bell, Rockfield, and County Line Elementaries have all had several service requests made within the last year, with the majority revolving around communication errors in the devices, faulty notifications, and hardware malfunctions. The influx in service requests prompted B&G and IT to find a long-range solution, and after working with Securitas technology consultants, staff identified that panels and hardware, including the phone lines, to be the culprit causing the communication, notification, device malfunction, et cetera. Many of these repairs incorporate issues with faulty landlines that have been there for quite some time. I know in speaking with the IT department, we had several landlines or phone lines that were removed due to this exact problem with copy machines and things of that nature that they utilize on their end of the operation. So after thorough discussion, the operational staff, it was decided that upgrading the panels at this time would be beneficial for both the ongoing safety and security needs of these sites and would be cost-effective with saving on service call repairs and canceling phone line agreements. It was also decided that it would be beneficial to replace upgrade MacArthur's panel and keypad at this time for consistency purposes between the elementaries. This project is also part of the 2024-25 capital projects list as presented in January. If approved, the new panel installations will be performed by Securitas technology technicians and scheduled at a time that will not disrupt school operations or functions.
Okay. I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to move forward with a positive recommendation to the full board to approve the replacement of security panels at Amy Bell, County Line, MacArthur, and Rockfield Elementary Schools using Securitas technology in the amount of $15,146.03, funded using the Capital Improvement Funds 41.
Second.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Tom Barney. Any further questions? And Frank, I think we covered it in building committee, but I just wanted to make sure you're not replacing a whole fire panel here or anything like that. It's the telephone modem portion versus and adding a cell phone type
Yes.
modem.
Yeah, they're not physically the fire panels themselves. There's a separate entity for the monitoring and communication piece, which plays a crucial role in that case. So if any alarm, burglary alarms or devices go off, or fire alarms, et cetera, this way, no matter if the building's occupied or not, we'll be notified as well as dispatch.
Sure, okay, very good. Any other questions?
Was that the culprit of the false alarm we had 2-3 weeks ago? At one of the schools?
Yes, it was. That was Rockfield.
Yep.
Yep.
Is that what brought light to this, or
No, there was slow light moving towards it, but then it kind of became a
issue?
more current, yeah, so prompted the push.
Okay, any more questions? No? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. And item 7D5, Johnson Controls Fire System Repairs. Frank Lord.
Yes, thank you. So just on, right off of the same topic, this time we are talking about fire panels themselves and the devices that run concurrently with those through Johnson Controls, which is who the district utilizes to maintain the fire systems at each school. This includes the repair and/or replacement of fire panels, sub-panels, audible horns, alarm devices, visual strobes, alarm devices, and heat and smoke detectors, as well as beam sensors. Excuse me. Staff scheduled a service request with Johnson Controls in the beginning of August to address several issues with the fire safety system. In short, the panel was lighting up like a Christmas tree, and we were silencing it until we could get a technician out. But then, I believe, if I recall correctly, we had a minor, I shouldn't say minor, but a lightning storm that actually took out Metasys for a day or two, which we believe this was related to, which was the additional alarms and issues that we were having, which prompted the need for Johnson Controls to address them as soon as possible. Again, given the time of the year that it was, I knew that students and staff were coming back full-time, and this definitely proposed an issue with life safety concerns with having the building occupied. So in that case, I had called and said, do what you need to do in order to make sure that we are safe for the start of school. Without knowing the exact price of what this was going to be, I do know that Johnson Controls is a costly entity when it comes to repairs and replacements. But until I received the invoice, I was unsure of how costly, once again. Not the largest that I've ever had from them, but the largest for the immediate unknown cause. So with that, I gave it a month or two, maybe 2.5, back and forth of going through this invoice and connecting with Johnson Controls to make sure that everything was correct. Had some doubled over truck charges that totaled the $644 that I was able to remove. And then the final was the $20,341.95. And again, $9,626.66 for labor, and $10,554.29 for material, and $161 truck charge. They were able to get everything up and going properly. I was very, very happy with that, and all their staff treated us, with a priority. So that was good, which is not always a promise from them.
Right, okay, very good. I will take a motion.
Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the full board to approve the repairs to the fire alarm system at Germantown High School performed by Johnson Controls in the amount of $20,341.95, funded using the general fund.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any questions?
Do either of the last two recommendations, or move again, address the panel in the field house that there seems to be an alarm that goes off frequently at?
The
Are you aware of-
beeping?
Yeah,
This will address The first one will address that. That will be
Okay.
part of the reprogramming of all
Okay.
the
I
entry
wasn't sure
panels.
if it was programming or the panel itself.
Yeah, that's a programming within that device, which you can silence, but moments after, once it hits its communication again, it goes off again.
Got it.
So, yep, that will be removed if it's the last thing that I make sure of.
Is this completely separate from, I think there was a HVAC quote out there for around $16,000 reprogramming? Oh, that was server related.
Yes,
So-
that was the Metasys building automation program.
And is that Johnson Controls also? I
Yes.
think it is, okay.
Yes.
This isn't related to that?
It is not, and really, they almost act as two separate corporations between the two of them.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to the HVAC and maintenance side versus fire and safety.
And as far as all the sensors are concerned, the term beam sensor here, what is that?
If you, the next time you're in one of the gymnasiums, you can look up, you'll see looks like a little hockey puck, and it sits 3/4 of the way up the ceiling, and it shoots an invisible beam across in case there was any high smoke sitting
Okay.
with anybody knowing, so, in mainly larger open spaces.
Okay, very
That
good.
gets set off by painting crews typically.
I don't recall any of this. Maybe did we talk about this in a building committee meeting over summer or any time? I don't recall there being a fire alarm issue, but, sometimes my memory's not the greatest.
I believe I brought a little bit of light to it, but undocumented. It was a casual bring up. I'm trying to remember what it exactly was over, but I do recall
Okay,
talking about this
Okay.
Towards the end.
very good.
Yep.
Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 That motion carries. And I think we have one last motion.
A motion to adjourn.
Are you guys gonna arm wrestle for it? Who's
I'll
got?
second.
Okay, motion by Tom Barney, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries, and we are adjourned. Building Committee at 5:42 PM.